sometimes you just have to sit back, take a deep breath, and be like, you know what? It's going to be okay. And the reason it's going to be okay is because the Denver Nuggets that we are currently seeing are not the actual Denver Nuggets team. So first and foremost, let me just go ahead and say that I'm going to get to the frustrations in a little bit. But again, keep it in perspective. The Denver Nuggets are 22-20. They're still sitting at 6th in the Western Conference. They're 0-3 versus the Utah Jazz. They're 0-2 versus the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 1-1 versus the Suns. They're 1-0 versus the Warriors. I get it. Against the greater competition, not looking so hot. But y'all, they do not have their literal second best player who can go for 50 versus the Utah Jazz or anybody else that is on the court with him that day. Right now, the Denver Nuggets are playing hampered with a hand behind their back, hoping and praying that when Nikola Jokic goes out the game, that the bench can do something. And tonight, they did nothing. Matter of fact, they did less than nothing. They did terrible. Nikola Jokic tonight, 37 minutes, he gave his best effort, had 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 14 assists, back-to-back triple-doubles. On 10 of 18 from the field, over 50%, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 40%, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 100%, with 2 steals, and he was a +5, and the Denver Nuggets got blown out 125-102. And what I say to thee is, if I am a bench player, again, I am embarrassed. Because every time this man leaves the game, I'm being counted on not to ruin a great performance from the MVP. I am being asked to keep the game close or not put him back in the game down double digits. My whole thing is when I'm walking around the locker room, when I go lay my head down at night, when I make up my bed in the morning when I wake up as an NBA player for the Denver Nuggets and I go to practice, I do all this. If you're on the Denver Nuggets bench, Facundo Campazzo, Bones Highland, Davon Reed, Zeke Naji, your whole point is to make sure that when Nikola Jokic, the best player in the NBA, goes out of the game, he is able to relax and not have to get back in the game, which is what happened in the second half when Facundo Campazzo put the Nuggets over the limit, and then the Nuggets also were down 12-14 points. When Jokic comes back in the game, that's what you're not supposed to be doing, but that's what the Denver Nuggets continue to do. Jokic tonight, 25, 15, and 14, a +5. Will Barton, 16, 2, and 4, 6 of 17, not great shooting. 2 of 8, not great shooting, but a +3. Aaron Gordon, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 of 15 shooting, great. 2 of 5 from 3, great, +8. Monte Morris, 13, 6, and 2, a +5. Oh, but guess what? The Utah Jazz starters, Donovan Mitchell, -4. Royce O'Neal, -10. Bojan, -5. But guess who was a plus? Conley and Gobert. Rudy Gobert was a +36 tonight. And then Michael Conley was a +21. Jordan Clarkson, +29. Joe Ingles, +21. Eric Pascal, +21. Forrest, +6. Oh, how about the Denver Nuggets bench? I'm glad that you asked. The Denver Nuggets bench tonight, Bones Highland, -31. Facundo Campazzo, -28. Davon Reed, -30. Zeke Naji, -27. When you lay your head on the bed tonight, even though your worth as a human being is there, you are loved, you have much more purpose in life than playing NBA basketball. This is not what this is about. You are people who deserve the very best. But when it comes to your job, when you lay your head on your bed, and you got to look at this performance and say, I was a -28 tonight. I was a -31 tonight. I was a -30 tonight. Whenever you do that, you realize that when the MVP went out of the game, you did not do your job. You made his job infinitely harder, even though he gave a maestro-like performance and put the Defensive Player of the Year in a cradle all game. That's what happened. I am very upset in terms of frustrated with how the season has gone because the Denver Nuggets bench has a good game once every 4 to 5 games, if that, and then they play good teams like this and they get obliterated. They can play against the Lakers because the Lakers are terrible. They can play against Portland because Portland is terrible. They can play against the Houston Rockets because the Houston Rockets are terrible. They can play sometimes against the Charlotte Hornets. They can sometimes play against the Minnesota Timberwolves, even though they can't sometimes. But when it comes to playing against good to elite guard play or team, period, awful. The Denver Nuggets shot in the fourth quarter 26%, and they scored 12 points at one point, and they scored 14 points, I believe, to end the entire fourth. The fourth quarter, the Nuggets got outscored 34-14, but here's the kicker. At the end of the third quarter, I believe at the end of the third quarter, it was 88-91. Jokic had the game tied, and then he went out at -3 because he went out. So when the starters started going out, the bench came in. Jokic stayed in at the end of the quarter. Donovan Mitchell got fouled, and so they were up one. Then he went to the basket, got two layups, so got 2 free throws. Jokic goes out of the game down 3 points, and at that point, the Denver Nuggets had tied it 80-80, 81-80. Then they got all the way up to like 84-80-81 at one point, 87-84, something like that. And then next thing you know, Jokic goes out -3. And literally when he gets back in the game, it was a 17-0 run, including those 3 points. It was a 17-0 run for the Utah Jazz. A 17-0 run for the Utah Jazz. And Nikola Jokic comes back in the game at 9 minutes, down 14 points. He left down 3 even though he got it even. He got it even till the end of the quarter. He leaves, he's out for 1 minute, and they're down 9. He's out for 2 minutes, and they're down 14 points. The bench got obliterated. Rudy Gobert, again, I know Michael Malone. Y'all know how I feel about him. I don't like those rotations all the time, especially against good teams. But again, you can't have great rotations when you have suboptimal guards on your bench. And you can't have good rotations when you're missing 2 of your best players on max deals. I get it. But the fact of the matter is, when Rudy Gobert went out, he was a +36. When Mike Conley went out, he was a +21. Rudy Gobert had 18-19 and 7-7 from the field. Rudy Gobert, though, did that against no one. He did it not against Nikola Jokic. He did that against the Nuggets bench. When he guarded the MVP was a +5, and he was a +9 up until halfway into the fourth quarter before they went out on a mercy rule. He was a double-digit plus-minus player most of the night until that fourth quarter. And they still got obliterated by 23 points. So you tell me, man. Facu Campazzo is not an NBA player versus good or elite guards. He's not. I'm not shying away from this. I said it on Twitter. Again, I think he's a good person. He's funny. I'm glad he's doing his little Nugget spotlights with Jamal Murray. Great. I'm glad the Nuggets are finding ways to hype him up. I have El Magical Facu. I have videos that praise Facu. I talk about Facu positively, but he only excels against bad teams. And let me not say only. He mostly only excels against bad teams, and every so often with the average team he'll have decent game. But against the Phoenix Suns, he'll get blown out. Can't deal with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Against the Utah Jazz, blown out. Can't deal with Mike Conley or Donovan Mitchell. Gets shot over by Royce O'Neal. When he plays against Memphis, can't do nothing with John Moran. When he plays against, who's next after that? When he plays against the Golden State Warriors, he can do decent if he has a great assistant, but not with Klay Thompson back. Absolutely not. So he has to play every game, but my whole thing is I don't think people realize that when your point guard cannot score. Facu Campazzo had 2 points on 1 of 7 and 0 of 5 from the field. Don't want to hear it. Bones Highland didn't shoot well, but he had 13 points and 3 assists on 5 of 14 and 3 of 10. He at least can score. When you're point guard and you have a guard that literally cannot score and is a defensive liability against good players, it doesn't make sense to play him every game. I would no longer be playing him every single game. It's inexcusable. Where is Boogie Cousins? Because they need a big in the worst way. Had they had a big to do something with Rudy Gobert, maybe he's not a +36. Because guess what? If Jokic comes back in the game and Rudy Gobert is a +25 instead of a +36, the Nuggets could have won the game. Where is Boogie Cousins? The Denver Nuggets get blown out tonight. The Denver Nuggets are currently now in the standings. They are sitting at the 6th seed. Or 7th, yeah, the 6th seed. They're a game and a half above the Lakers. They're a game and a half behind the Mavericks. And they are separating even more from everyone else because every time Jokic goes out the game, it's terrible. So, that's the state of the country. The Nuggets are terrible when Jokic's not in the game. When they're in the game, they're elite. And they're better than almost anyone. Joel Rush, Forbes writer. Monte Morris, 1 of 8. Will Barton, 2 of 8. Bones Highland, 3 of 10. Facu, 0 of 5. All from three-pointers, 6 of 31, 19.4%. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Y'all, join me. Hit me on Twitter, SwipaCam. Follow the channel. We are 2,300 subscribers away from 10,000. Let's go ahead and get there. Let's build this community. Let's continue to turn it up. It ain't great tonight, but the Denver Nuggets will be back. They play against the LA Clippers for a revenge game on Wednesday, January 19th. I believe they're going to win that game. They get 2 days off, and then they got Memphis on Friday after another game at home. Then they got Detroit. Let's get it done, y'all. Swipe again. Hit the subscribe button. Grow the channel, y'all. I'm going to see y'all.